Hey guys, Cooldogs818 here, and this video is actually going to be different from my usual content, because as you can see I'm in housing. Housing is not usually where you'll find me. I usually do either PvP or Skyblock. I mean, that's what I've uploaded so far. But I decided to do a tutorial this time. A tutorial on how to speed bridge. So here I have a hauled out house. It's pretty deep, and I'm just gonna start with what many people do. Many people probably just build like this. Just hold down right click, and this is what many people call as new bridging, because it's easy to do. It requires you to be able to click the right mouse button. What new bridging is? New bridging allows you to just, it takes a long time, and you you are very vulnerable to many things. Like, you can get shot off with a bow easily if you're just bridging like this. It's really hard to look who's behind you while you're bridging, and that leaves your back open so people can easily attack you. And that's why there are different bridging methods that are much better. To name one, if you still aren't accustomed to speed bridging, you can. It's actually quicker to move if you hold down W. I mean, not WD, AD, SD, or SA. If you're doing SA, you have to look this direction. If you're doing SD, you have to look this direction. And you can like place your cursor anywhere on the block, and all you do is hold, and it's much quicker. Same like that in movement. If you just hold it like this and move, it's quicker than moving backwards like that. And then comes speed bridging. Now, speed bridging is the most traditional way to bridge. So many people use it and have learned it, and you probably have heard of it. So but yeah. So what speedrunning basically is exactly when you place a block, you release the shift key. You like shuffle yourself to the end of the block, and you place another block, and you do that process again like that. And then when you get fast at it, you can do this. And it's like kind of muscle memory too. And there are different types of speed bridging, ninja bridging. Ninja bridging, you might have heard, it's all the same thing. Speed bridging is ninja bridging. I personally call it speed bridging. And there are different ways to speed bridge. If you are just starting out learning how to speed bridge, then it might be best if you just go backwards, and you can speed bridge like that too. And then you can slowly start to pick up the pace. And also, I personally time my clicks. I find it much easier to time your clicks than just hold and speed bridge. But it's up to the person who does it. If you hold, you have a less chance of falling. But if you time your clicks, you can actually sometimes go faster than holding, which can, in some scenarios, give you a advantage. Not in many, but just in some. And that's why speed bridging, but speed bridging is definitely much faster than doing this. It's way faster. So now time to get into the actual tutorial, since you guys learned what it is. Okay, so basically, let's start here. Let's pretend you're in a game of Bed Wars, and let's make a tiny little platform. Let's pretend that you're in Bed Wars, and that's your bed. Actually, is there a real bed? I don't think there is. Oh, there is a bed. Okay, that's your bed, right? In Bed Wars, and you're covering your bed, and pretend that I'm holding wool. You're covering your bed in wool. Okay. So now what you do is you want to, right after you cover it, you probably want to rush someone. So you want to rush. So what I recommend, if you're a beginner, you might want to just go to the edge of the block and then jump. And then there are different ways you can do this. You can play this scenario by bridging up. And I'll also get into bridging up later in the video. Or you can just speed bridge and then speed bridge up. And yeah, so as you can see, there are different ways you can play the scenario out. But the most recommended way to even get on that block is to place it like that and then just jump on top of it and immediately hold shift so you don't fall off the block. What happens if you don't hold shift is this. And I fall off immediately because I didn't hold shift. And then you want to immediately turn and get right in between that white line right there and that white line down there. You want to go in between it, and then you want to place. If you're holding down, um, right click and not timing your clicks, you just hold it. And then you want to for practicing, just release and then hold. Always have S and D held. This is just like the premise. You just hold S and D, and then you hold Shift when you get to the end. So in slow motion, it looks kind of like this. Okay, this, and then you just go to the end, and then click, go to the end. Pretend I went to the end there, and then this, click, go to the end, click, go to the end, click, go to the end. That's it in slow motion. In fast motion, it looks a bit like this. Yeah. So you have to, I mean, that was for if you're timing your clicks. If you want to hold your clicks, all you have to do is just hold, go to the end, hold, go to the end, hold, go to the end, hold, go to the end. Yeah, kind of like that. I mean, that's, and in fast motion, I'm saying fast motion. In normal motion, it looks like this. Yeah. I mean, as you can see, it's a tiny bit slower than this. I mean, but the difference isn't that large. Now, elevation also is key in this, because normally you might just flat bridge like this and you might not go up at all. But what would happen if, for example, pretend that I was still standing on that grass block and this was your enemy. He was all the way up here and he took height. Since you're down there and you don't see the enemy because you're new bridging. You're doing this. You don't see the enemy at all. You might see that, but that won't be an actual Bedwars game. You don't see the enemy at all. And then you're just new bridging. And what the enemy can do in this scenario, the enemy can just jump onto your bridge, hit you off, and run and get your bed. That easily. Just run and get your bed. I should okay, whatever. We don't need the bed. Let's pretend the bed's still in there. Yeah, so what you also want to do to prevent this is you occasionally want to look at your enemy's bridge too to make sure that they're not going above you or anything. Because if they are going above you, then you might want to go up too. But for example, pretend that they're going insanely high, like they're going to the heavens. They're going up there. Pretend that they're here. In this scenario, it would be better to flat bridge. Because, I mean, do not flat bridge necessarily, but because he can still knock you off. I don't know if you die from that height, but he'll take a lot of fall damage. So what you want to do is like block yourself in. So if he comes down and tries to hit you off, you're blocked in. So the most he can do is like make you jump a tiny bit, but then you can easily hit him off because he's gonna be standing there. Pretend that that's him. You can just hit him off and that's all the void. But when he tries to hit you, there's stuff behind you, so you won't fall. And he'll also take a lot of fall damage. And then once since you did that and since you have the upper hand, then you can just like fast stack or something up, take his bed and defeat him. So that's why mainly um that's why you should look out for elevation and remember that elevation is pretty important, but you shouldn't like worry about it too much because it can also be your downfall if you overreact. Now that I explained speed bridging and why it's good and all, and I kind of showed how to do it, let's talk about one stacking. Many people also might want to just go up like this. I'm right now holding down right click and they probably go up like this or something like that, like this. Or they just go to the end and go up, go to the end, go up like that. But the thing is, this isn't that effective because, for example, yeah, you just saw there. I was trying to hold bridge and hold space, and it made me fall down. But now look, if I hold space, um, I'm sorry for my butterfly clicking, but yeah, and I wasn't able to, I didn't fall, and I built a pretty decent staircase, I would say. So that's why one stacking is also better, and as you can tell, one stacking is also faster. Like, look, much faster. Personally, though, I mean, one stacking you can hold space, but it's just like it's just like speed bridging. You can, for speed bridging, you can either time your clicks or you can hold down right click. And for me, like one stacking is exactly like that. I personally time my space so that I get the uh a pretty quick speed. Oops, I messed up there. Oh, and I ended up flying because I hit space too quickly. But yeah, so that I get a pretty decent speed. I time my clicks when I one stack. But you might find it easier. It's all up to preference. You might find it easier to just use the traditional holding space and one stacking. And for one stacking, it's better to spam though. I mean, you have to spam. I mean, that's what I do at least. But you have to spam because otherwise then you're just um you probably it'll be hard for you to build quick enough. Because if I'm just normal clicking and one stacking, yeah, I I had my crosshair on it, but I didn't click fast enough, so I wasn't able to get place a block there. So that's the premise of one stacking. And to do one stack, basically all you do is you hold shift, and then when you go up, you just release shift. And you hold shift again when you're at the end of the block. Basically like speed bridging, except you also include space. And and then put together it looks like that. Okay, and now let's go to there's also something called two stacking. I'm not that good at it yet, but it's like you alternate like that, kind of, and people can get really fast at it. But this is also one really good technique uh, to for Bedwars, because if you want to gain elevation, but not as quickly as one stacking, but still gain elevation, you can do two stacking. And what two stacking is, it's in slow motion. It's just that, and then you go up. Place one. So instead of one stacking, you go up immediately. You have one filler block, and then you go up. Okay, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and was able to learn how to speed bridge just like that. And that would really be amazing because I know that there's still many people who don't know how to speed bridge and don't even know what it is. So I hope that my tutorial was able to help at least one person. And thank you guys for watching. Really means a lot. I appreciate it. I'll continue making these videos if you guys drop enough likes. I don't really care about likes, I guess. But I mean, it'll tell me that you liked the video. And I'll see you next time. Bye!